Yeah, girl. I know it's our anniversary, and I haven't been doing a good job with our money as of late. But I gotta tell you, I found a way we can still have a good time. When I go online, I look for a way to have some fun. And I have money, and not have money. And I came up on Budget Arcade. Jeff and Elliot and oh yeah, Scott, all they do is talk about the freest games, whether you should download them or not. Yeah, girl, Budget Arcade.
Budget Arcade is the name of the podcast. Budget Arcade is the name of the podcast.
It's the name of the podcast, girl. Hello gamers and welcome to Budget Arcade, a free-to-play gaming podcast to help you navigate through the growing realm of free-to-play games. My name's Jeff.
Ooh, and I'm Elliot.
And I'm uncomfortable.
Ooh, you're gonna be.
I thought this is a PG podcast, so we're gonna stop with this now and move forward.
I had so many lines of thought, that fleeting memories now.
Now, we hadn't talked about this before, but there'll be a little bit of some changes coming to Budget Arcade. Next week is going to be our next regular episode where we're recording a review of Gwent. But Elliot won't be there.
That's right. I am taking a break from the review aspect of Budget Arcade. When I first started, I had just started a podcast with my wife about the same time you guys had started, which is why I think we connected so well early on, because we were all kind of new to this genre. And one of the reasons I made that podcast with my wife originally was because I had a lot more free time because I had stopped playing World of Warcraft. I was raiding pretty hardcore, and I was looking for something to kind of put my extra time into. And so I started podcasting with my wife, Tessa and Elliot Argue. And then like 2 months later, I started podcasting with you guys as well. And I love it. I adore Scott. And Jeff's there as well.
I do make appearances.
And so, I think I want to focus my time on something else. But I still want to be able to do this, and luckily as hard as I tried to burn the bridge, I have not successfully burned it. So until they tell me otherwise, I will be here every other week with my boy Jeff.
How this goes down. So we're going to have a new co-host who I've never met before. I don't know this person. It's one of Scott's friends. So I don't know if he's going to let me yell at him like I yelled at Cody or how I yell at you. So I need you here as an outlet for my aggression.
I'm going nowhere. That was one of the things it was definitely a it's me, not you situation in the truest sense, where I was afraid that we would stop talking, which is unfortunate because this is you and Scott. This friendship we've bonded over the podcasting is, we've never met in person, and I would like to think that of you, both of you, as a friend, as a pretty good friend. I really enjoy your company. Absolutely. Non-physically, of course, over the airwaves.
Again, that's just because of the distance between us. Again, we're a PG podcast. Now, I want to say, this sort of sub-show of Jeff and Elliot Recommends is not going anywhere. We're going to still be doing our thing. Much to the chagrin of anyone who listens to the opening music. I don't know how many more ideas I have for that.
I know I'm gonna have to come up with something.
I'll need a
carry
picture.
That.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's dive into what we've got going on. Elliot, do you want to start?
Yeah. So it was a deal, but it's no longer a deal once this comes out. But this past week, I've been playing the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. On the Switch. It was on sale half off, so same with the Crash Bandicoot, which I already had. But that's what I've really played a lot of time. That and the game I'm going to recommend, I've put a lot of time in the last week. where I beat the first Spyro game in just under 10 hours, which felt pretty good. I didn't 120% it, but I got pretty close. I've really enjoyed it. It runs on the Switch really well. The load times are a little crazy, which is the same problem that the Crash Bandicoot game had. But other than that, man, that was the only complaint I had about the Spyro trilogy so far. I guess I'm about a third of the way through the series, so...
So half price would put it at what? 30?
It's $20.
$20 and you get 3 games.
Yeah. 3 full games, yeah. And the first game, I don't know what I'm trying to go for here, but it's 120%. So once you play the whole game, you can do there's a whole extra zone to play. So it didn't take that long. It's a lot more challenging than I remembered it being in some aspects. So.
Well, I'll piggyback off of that then and just say I'm a big Crash Bandicoot fan. The original trilogy for the PlayStation.
Same.
I adore those games. All my friends were playing Mario 64, and I felt like I had the better game playing Crash Bandicoot. I thought it looked better than Mario 64, had great sound. So I would definitely recommend picking those up, or the Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, I have all 3 of those games, all 3 remastered versions of those games. I love them. The Crash Bandicoot Remastered, the first one is incredibly hard because of how the game was made and ported over. So actually the games get progressively easier, where the Crash 3 remake is easier than the 2, which is easier than the first one. So
now, the first one on the PlayStation was actually even harder. So the remake will let you save after every level.
It does.
Whereas the original would not. So if you ran out of lives, you'd have to beat like 2 or 3 levels to get back to the point. So it's a much better version of the game, not just graphically.
Yeah, that was one of the games that I played with my brother that's close in age to me. We would sit together and take turns playing until we died and handing the controller off. That was one of those couch co-op games. That's not really couch co-op, but that's how we played it. So a lot of good memories with that, and I think they're very well made, the remakes. So
yeah. And my brother was a Nintendo guy, and I loved my PlayStation, and so we kind of went back and forth about what was better. And there's no right answer, but the PlayStation's better.
Yeah, I was definitely a PlayStation guy in that era. I've definitely flip-flopped, but that was where I was. At that point, I was definitely a PlayStation guy. So what have you been playing this week?
Oh, tons of Slay the Spire. I've been dabbling back into One Step from Eden. Okay. Mostly because I've been watching a lot of videos, and I'm like, okay, I get a little bit more, and then I go back to Slay the Spire. I'm getting fully addicted. I won my first run. I'm having a blast with that. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Warzone still with some friends, so that's still going to be in my rotation. But what my Game Pass recommendation hasn't even come out yet. It comes out April 30th. They are making... I'm a Sega Genesis guy, okay? My favorite consoles of all time are the Sega Genesis and the Nintendo DS. Those are the best.
I thought you were going to go with the Nomad, the Genesis Nomad. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Well, that's a good handheld. It has the entire Sega Genesis lineup that you can play.
And only 6 AA's.
Yeah.
For a half hour.
I wasn't that... I had a Game Gear, but Streets of Rage is one of my favorite series. And Streets of Rage 4 comes out April 30th, and it launches on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass...
Can't wait.
Well, I don't know if there's going to be crossplay. I'd like to play with you, but I know Jason from Film Soliloquy, he and I are going to be going through it because we played the originals together on my Sega Genesis. Nice. I have the original cartridges, so I'm really excited for that. I'm glad it's dropping immediately on Game Pass, and when it leaves Game Pass, I'll probably pay for it.
I'm debating on what platform I'm going to purchase that game on.
Yeah.
Not if I'm going to purchase it, but just where am I going to purchase it?
Are you at all an achievement or trophy hunter?
Not really. It's never really been a thing for me.
That's the only thing that keeps me from buying something on, or would have me buy something on Xbox that wouldn't be on Switch. That or online multiplayer. Like if it's online multiplayer, I'm going to get it on Xbox. But
you like that number? You like seeing that number rise?
Like when playing Children of Morta, I liked getting my little achievements, and then when I finished the game, looking to see if I wanted to keep going. And right now, Slay the Spire is on Game Pass, but I've been playing on the Switch. And one of the reasons I like playing on the Switch is I don't get interrupted by my friends. So like if I'm in a mood to just play alone, I play on the Switch. But if I play on my Xbox, Cody or Jason or someone's going to be like, hey man, let's get on Warzone. And I'm just like, I'm kind of in the mood for this, but all right, you guys are online. So that's kind of the way I weigh what device I buy something on.
That's kind of funny.
But I have totally bought something on Xbox just because it had achievements over the Switch version.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of those things on another one of those things on Nintendo's list of maybe the next generation they'll finally get to achievements.
I don't think they care. At this point,
I don't think they
You've had 2 consoles since achievements have been a thing, and they haven't done it. So
yeah, but they just now got online kind of working.
They don't care about online.
They don't either, which is also a shame.
Right. As long as friend codes are a thing, I don't think Nintendo cares.
Oh, gosh. That with Animal Crossing and my wife Tessa wanting to play with her friends, that has been, trying to explain to her how that works has been less than exciting. Because I find it a pain in the butt. And then you hand someone a Switch that doesn't play Switch ever. You're like, here's how this works.
Obviously, we're all in quarantine, and I've been trying to get Teddy to be able to play with his friends on Switch, and I'm like, I'll just get him the online for him so he can actually play with his friends. And they're trying to exchange friend codes, and Teddy's like, I don't understand. And I was like, you have to give him yours, he has to give you yours, you his, and then you have to put them in, and then it'll friend. It's needlessly tedious, and Nintendo doesn't care. They don't have any plans to fix it, and it hasn't seemed to matter, right? They're successful anyway.
It really hasn't. Yeah. Heck, you can't even buy a Switch right now.
You have to get a Lite if you found, you could find it.
If you want one, yep.
Which is crazy. I guess I didn't think the Switch would be a quarantine, it'd be right there with toilet papers, things that are hard to find.
Yeah. Well, I have 3 recommendations. 2 of them are for PlayStation this week. PlayStation announced their Play at Home campaign, which includes a couple of free games. There is the Uncharted Collection, which is Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Which, again, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves is just maybe a perfect game, in my opinion. Really close to a perfect game. 1 and 3 are also really good, but 2 is just, man, it hits home. And Journey, which is a phenomenal game. I played it on PlayStation 3 when it came out there, but it's free now on PlayStation 4, and it's like a 2-hour, 3-hour game, but it's probably a game you wouldn't enjoy because I know you're not a huge games as art kind of guy.
Yeah, I actually watched a Let's Play of it years ago when it came out, and I watched it in its entirety, and it is not for me, but that's okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it when I played it then, and I got it because it's free, and I'm going to play it again at some point. I just remember enjoying it. I think I like the aesthetic. So those are my 2 picks for PlayStation, and then my pick for Nintendo for the Switch is the Picross games. I don't know if you're familiar with these at all.
I love Picross.
Oh, I did too. And this is the only, they're all 3 Picross S, S2, and S3 are 20% off. Because Picross S4 comes out, I think, at the end of this week. So until the...
Go ahead.
No, so until the 30th, so until the end of the month, they're all 20% off. So Picross S is $639, S2 is $719, and S3 is $799. So.
And what's interesting about those is that's about how much you would pay for a book of Sudoku.
Yes.
In the store, so... that's really cool. Now, the one I picked up recently was Picto Quest, which is...
that's on my list now.
And then they added Murder by Numbers, which is so Picto Quest is an RPG with Picross, and Murder by Numbers is like a visual novel with Picross.
That's cool.
So I'm interested in those. My favorite Picross, was the original Picross on DS. And then on 3DS, they had Picross 3D.
3D 2 is where it is at.
The fact that they moved that puzzle into a 3D realm and it worked
is crazy,
and it worked on the 3DS is amazing. I love those games. So.
I do too. I always, in case you're unsure about puzzle games, I think that they are, if you took Sudoku and Minesweeper and kind of merged them together a little bit, I think that's kind of what Picross is. At least the S series, which if you're going to buy one, Picross S3 is going to have the most bang for your buck. It's got regular Picross, Mega Picross, Picross Color, I think another version too, where Picross S just has S and Mega.
Yeah.
But like even then, there's hours to be had there. It's one of those like one more puzzle, I'll play one more puzzle kind of games for me. So they're really easy to get into and just kind of zone out with a podcast.
And
really
they play really great on controller.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like because playing something like Sudoku or whatever on a controller would be a nightmare, but Picross plays very well on controller.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're, like I said, they're only 20% off, but they've never been on sale before, and they're probably never going to go lower than 20%. If I had to guess, because they've never been on sale on the Switch. So
yeah, I'll probably pick one up.
It's worth it. I had 1 and 2, and I picked up 3 because I already had 1 and 2. So
yeah. Well, I've actually went back to so have you heard of the SteamWorld games? Are you familiar with these?
I have. I've never played any of them though.
So
which one, if I wanted to play, which one should I play first?
See, that's the thing. They're very different. So, do you want a platformer? Do you want an RPG that has like cards, like that uses card mechanic as a battler? Do you want a turn-based strategy game?
Okay.
And so, like, their first game was a tower defense game years ago. People don't even... Actually, there was a game even before that called Anthill, which you can get on Switch. But the first SteamWorld game was this tower defense game. And then they did SteamWorld Dig, which was like their first hit. And that's a really good game. SteamWorld 2...
That's the one I'm most familiar with.
Yeah, SteamWorld Dig 2 is really good. SteamWorld Heist is a turn-based strategy game with an amazing soundtrack. I like... mind-bogglingly good, and you can find it cheap. But I've been playing their latest game, SteamWorld Quest: The Hand of Gilgamesh, or something like that. And it is an RPG with that, so it would be like card-based combat, like Slay the Spire, except it's not a roguelike. You have set cards, you build, and you can tweak your deck whenever you want. Your progress is saved all the way through. You find cards by opening chests. I have a complaint where it doesn't, like, when something's an RPG, I want an overworld. I want to walk across an overworld and just add that element of being in a fantasy place. This doesn't have that.
I feel that.
You go from chapter to chapter, and when the chapter starts, you just kind of, it's a very linear game. That being said, the combat's really cool and fun. While it is card based, it's also unique mechanics that have to do with teaming and chaining attacks, and it's really fun. When it goes on sale, it does not too steep of a sale, but SteamWorld tends to get really steep in their sales. The older the game gets, and whenever they come around to a new one. So I do recommend pretty much anything with the SteamWorld tag on it. I think Heist might be the best game they've made.
Is that the turn-based one?
Yeah, and it has procedurally generated levels. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, it's procedurally generated. It's a roguelike." No, it's not the case. When you go into a level, that level generates. If you lose, you don't go back to the beginning. You just start that level over again. But but when you go into that level, it generates again. And so you're never going to, you can't like trial and error it. You just have to learn what they're trying to teach you and apply it in every situation, which I like. Whereas something like a Fire Emblem, it's like, oh, they're going to move this way. And you restart the map and you trial and error and get your way through it eventually by replaying the same thing over and over. That's not the case here. And it's a side-scrolling turn-based game, so it's going to have a lot of mechanics that you'd see in a game like XCOM things like that. I definitely, that one will go on sale, usually pretty affordably, and the Switch version is really good looking too. I bought it on the
I'll
DS.
put that on my list then.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I do not have anything else.
Oh.
So,
well, we do want to thank you for listening. Our music is provided by Stimmage. At least the outro is. He probably doesn't want to take credit for the intros. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Budget Arcade. Our website's budgetarcade.com. Facebook.com/budgetarcade is another place you can get in touch with us. Also on our social medias, you can find our Discord link. Our Discord has been awoken as of late.
Oh, it has.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Great.
A lot of people interacting and hanging out and talking about games.
About all kinds of things. Yeah, all kinds of different games.
We've got all these different sub-channels you can tool around in, so definitely join us in there. Scott's really active in it. I am not, but if you tag me in something...
I try.
I always reply.
We'll get around to it, probably.
Yeah, I don't need any more notifications on my phone.
The last thing I would like to say is my boy Jeff and his friend Jason, their podcast, Film Soliloquy, is back. The episode they just dropped, well, today when we're recording, which was yesterday, if you're listening the day this comes out. Great episode again. I love the premise of their movie review podcast. They review two movies that neither one of them has seen it, one of them hasn't seen it, and then they give it a rating, and that's the official rating. So like when Scott went on and just dumped all over John Wick, now John Wick is a C movie. Which is a shame, because we all know it's not, and Scott's just full of himself.
Well, there you have it.
So,
tearing down Scott on his own podcast.
He's not listening to this.
Yeah,
right,
he does
Scott?
listen to this. All right.
Oh, I know he does. That's the other part.
Also, check out Tess and Elliot Argue for more Elliot, and we will see you.
Yeah.
I will see you next week. Elliot will see you in 2 weeks, and this is Budget Arcade.
Take it easy.